Nerys Rau. I'm the Director of Design and Construction for George Brown College, overseeing all construction and renovation projects, and in particular, the Project Director for Limberlost Place. I came to the role on Limberlost Place through different paths. I was with our IT department when Limberlost Place was initiated and was brought over due to my experience in larger capital projects for George Brown College and asked to manage Limberlost Place across the finish line.
And I'm Phillips. I'm a partner at Moriyama Tashima Architects. And we saw this amazing RFP call for a really inspiring building. I think it was in 2017. And I've been involved since then, leading our team at Moriyama Tashima Architects, and the whole team involves many, many partners, including other architects, Acton Austria architects from Vancouver. And I came to this position because, frankly, sustainability has always been in our DNA at the firm. And we couldn't have imagined a more progressive and aspirational project than this one. And we were so thrilled to have been chosen. I think we all felt that we were part of something really big and beautiful, meaningful and purposeful, that we've all just kind of dove in and really given it our all. And we've made some wonderful friendships along the way.
Carol, what inspired you to pursue the field that you're in? And were there any women who were influential in that decision?
That's a great question. I mean, you and I are of the same generation. And in architecture and construction, it still is a very male-dominated field. I would say that I had few female role models, but really, in a way, what inspired me to pursue this field was the role model that really matters, and that's my mother. My mom always encouraged me to soak in life, to see as much as I could, to experience as much as I could, and she gave me the confidence to know that I could reflect that back in a creative way. She gave me the confidence to know that I had the voice and the ability to translate my own personal experiences into collective experiences and make it meaningful through design. My sister as well is the one who recognized my tendency to be both technical and scientific and very creative. And she was the one actually who suggested that I pursue a career in architecture. And when I was a student in fourth year at the University of Waterloo, I worked abroad in Barcelona. And I was really struck in Barcelona at these firms that were led by powerful women. And it didn't seem to be the same barrier. There were these incredible architects like Carme Pinos and Beth Gali, who had projects around the city and whose names were known. And I was kind of surprised and shocked because that really didn't exist here. While there are incredible female architects in Canada, it really didn't have the same presence in my mind as a student. But I would also say that I had great allies. I worked for men who saw and supported any potential that I had. And I think that in a way was equally important.
I think you and I have a lot of similarities in that respect. I didn't necessarily have the role models, but my entire life I've had such strong female role models. And again, for me, I would also point to my mother as well. My parents were a biracial couple when that was very rare. And I think my upbringing was really forward in what we would now call diversity and inclusion, not just in how I was brought up to treat other people with those values, but always brought up that I could do anything I wanted to. There was never any barriers that would ever been discussed or talked about by my mother. It would always have been whatever you want to do. And there was always a recognition that my strengths were, on the left side of my brain, perhaps the science, the math, the business. And it was always known from the time that I was a child that I could do whatever I wanted to. And that was almost expected that I would go forward to a career that would help me in that respect.
Do you see any other women in the field that you're operating at your level in the industry?
Now many. I think there's a lot of strong female role models. I'm sitting next to one now in you, Carol. I have to hope that the environment that helped these women to start to rise in the industry remains and it doesn't change. That because we're starting to see the funnel of women coming in from school, from engineering schools, from architecture schools, that funnel is now larger, and we have to help the companies achieve starting to promote them through.
Hi, Chloe. I'm Leslie Quinlan, Senior Vice President of People Enablement and Experience at George Brown College. I became involved in Limberlost Place when I took on a broader portfolio at the college that included facilities and sustainability, and Limberlost Place was one of the projects under that portfolio. So I became overall responsible for the project for the college.
Hi Leslie, I'm Chloe Dagenais. I'm a building systems coordinator with PCL Construction. I would say I was very fortunate to be assigned to this project when I started with PCL Construction over 2.5 years ago.
So Chloe, I'm interested in hearing why International Women's Day is important to you and how you see that in your industry.
I would say International Women's Day is very important to me because it provides a platform to highlight women's achievements across all industry, but most importantly in my industry in construction, where historically we've been a little underrepresented. I think this day is not only important to highlight women's progress in the industry, but also continue to ensure women feel empowered and encouraged to thrive in this industry. In regards to its impact in the construction industry, I would say that representation is key. It's not necessarily about the numbers we see, but more about providing an environment where women's contributions to this industry are recognized and valued. Representation is very important because when we see women in leadership roles, or for example on a job site, I believe it does provide inspirations and encourages the future generation to believe that they can also succeed in this industry.
Absolutely. It's not just that the building is a trailblazer building, but also you mentioned recognizing women's achievements in that, being part of an industry that is traditionally male-dominated. It really inspires other women, through acknowledging women's part in this building. It allows other women to be inspired to, also be trailblazers and go into an industry they might not have thought about before. So I think that's really important to acknowledge women's accomplishments in this industry and motivate others to continue to build their presence and in non-traditional fields.
What message would you have for the future generation of women leaders, innovators, and change makers?
That's a great question. So I think I'd say, don't be afraid to take risks and to try the things that you're interested in. Be yourself, be true to what you want to do, even if that is in a space that traditionally women haven't been as present as we'd hope, especially in leadership roles. So I think it's really important to continue to stick with your goals once you know what those are, even if it's in a challenging space where you don't have a lot of role models. It's really important for women to lift up women.
So I would kind of add on to that and say that definitely, as a young woman entering this field, I think it's very important to just trust in your abilities, embrace the challenges that are ahead, and really know that your unique perspective is invaluable.
Right, and make your voice heard.
Yes.
Michelle McCollum. I'm the Vice President of Facilities and Sustainability here at George Brown College. Limberlost Place is within my portfolio, which includes the planning, design and construction operations, as well as sustainability for the college.
This is Lakshmi Sundararajan. I'm the project coordinator with PCL Construction. I'm involved in coordinating construction activities, managing day-to-day schedules, and also involved in cost estimation and evaluation of the whole project.
So Lakshmi, how do you think Limberlost Place will contribute to a more sustainable and inclusive future?
I think Limberlost Place is a great example of sustainability and innovation, and also stands out as a building from the future. I saw this building draw a lot of people from the rest of the world to come over here, take a look at all these awesome and innovative design components, and that was amazing. I also saw like a multitude of people were involved in power and decision making of this building. And it was amazing to see how empowering it was. Like as a woman in construction myself, I got so much hope from this project because of that. That's why I see this building as something being a very good example of sustainability as well as like inclusion for future generations.
It's an amazing answer.
So Michelle, what does your involvement with Limberlost Place mean to you personally and professionally?
So I joined George Brown about 3 years ago, just as construction was beginning here at Limberlost Place. And I have to tell you, for someone who leads in this space, to be involved in a project like this, it's a once in a career opportunity to do something and be involved in something that is so innovative, that's different, that's quite frankly changing the world. You know, we've been pushing the boundary on business and building code. This will be the first mass timber building of its size for its type of use, which is really inspiring. So for me, you know, at the stage I am at in my career, to have the opportunity to work on a project like this, to learn from all of the amazing people involved in the project, like you, Lakshmi, you know, just hearing you talk about being involved in the project is amazing. And to have more women involved in the construction process, it's an amazing thing to be a part of a project that's not only pushing the boundaries innovative in its own right, but ensuring that we're creating an inclusive working environment for all of the individuals, all of the professionals and tradespeople involved in the project as well. So this building is going to go on and invite so many people. So many students are going to learn here. So many creators are going to innovate here in this space. And you know, you'll always drive by, walk by, work here, looking at this building, knowing that I played a part in making something that's going to make such a difference to so many people's future.
That's amazing. What do you think a message that you would pass on to present women working in construction industry is, that one thing that could give them the power to make themselves feel powerful?
So it's interesting because, and thank you for asking that question. I think going back, you know, I've been working in my career now for about 35 years. So I sometimes think about what would I tell my younger self? And I think the message is, because I always had just a feeling that some things I didn't do well enough. I was never quite good enough. And I think I would go back and tell myself, you are good enough. You are, you can do this. And, don't look around you and think that you're not as good as the other people around you, because you actually are, and you can do this. It's that confidence. And I think as you go forward into your career, you gain more and more confidence. But just to have a little bit more in my younger career, be confident, you got this, but then pay it forward and do your part to make sure that others feel included in the environment as well.
Thank you.